There we go. Okay.
Yay.
So...
This is our new intro music for the show. Just so you know.
I like it. I am about to turn you off.
You said you liked it.
Yeah, up until she started singing.
Yes, I win. Oh, did you hear that there has been a new signing to Drum, aka Dream Records EDM label?
No.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, this is the thing about, at least to me, that I think is kind of funny about the differences between the Christian EDM artists and the mainstream EDM artists that get signed. The mainstream ones either have a guest vocalist who they use a clip of that they manipulate in certain ways to make it interesting, or they don't have any vocals at all. The Christian ones feel the need to have a actual vocalist who sings like a normal song over a EDM beat, which makes it pretty much not EDM anymore in my book.
Right.
I'm like,
well, isn't the idea of electronic dance music to be just
danceable
music?
Yeah, that's, to me, yes.
I mean, perhaps I'm missing something, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, so that's my thought too. But I think that there's this push for Christian electronic dance music to have a full set of song lyrics, so that way that Jesus can be fully seen, which is great. I like, in theory, I get that, but at the same time, it makes it not that the lyrics are necessarily bad, and not necessarily that the vocalists stink, but most of the time, the lyrics are bad and the vocalists stink.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of kills it for me, which is a pity because, like, the song itself, I mean, like, the music for it, I think is pretty good. But,
you're like, I want to like you so bad, but I just can't.
Right.
I mean, I've kind of had that with some bands that have submitted music. It's like, I tell them, I really, really want to like this, but it's just not possible.
Right. Well, I got sent, I hope for the love of God they don't listen to this podcast. I don't even remember the name of the band. That'll help. But this band sent me this stuff, and it was like, I think they were demos. So, I mean, I suppose that should tell me something. I hope they were demos. Anyway, they sent me this stuff, and they're like, it's really, really heavy, like hardcore metal guitars, but we have like alternative vocals. I think we may have invented a whole new style of music. I want you to check it out. And they were right. They had really heavy guitars and a vocalist that wasn't very good and songs that weren't very well written.
Oh, man. You're not in the chat yet. So Kirk says that Burlap to Kashmir made their Pledge Music campaign goal.
Yes, they did.
And POD has extended theirs, and they're still not halfway there yet.
Oh, your goodness. That is so pathetic. They're not pumping it that much, though.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about it at all, so...
I mean, they're just now starting to be like, oh, here's some teasers of this EP that we're going to make. Okay. So, I don't know. And unfortunately for me, I guess anyway, I don't know. I added a new station and they're an internet-only station, but I think they really, really cater to like indie bands.
Oh,
and when I say indie, I don't mean like, the Strokes indie. I mean like they're independent.
Right.
But yeah, they sent. So now I'm getting all these like friend requests to my personal Facebook from all these bands that I've never heard of. I'm like, oh, great.
And once they find out you're on the podcast, we're going to get inundated with, hey, promote us on your podcast.
Probably. Oh, aren't you looking dapper today?
Oh, why?
I just now
Thank you.
actually saw you.
Yeah, I actually shaved.
Well, you shaved and you're wearing like a non-Star Wars shirt. That looks
Hey,
like
I
has
only have
buttons.
2 Star Wars shirts.
No, No, it's fine. I like your Star Wars shirts. I'm just saying that's the reason why you look dapper. It's like you're wearing something different than I normally see you wearing.
Oh my. Not sure how I feel about that.
That's not meant to be a rub.
Uh-huh. Well, for being not meant to be, it is.
Sorry. Wasn't meant. I didn't mean to be mean. I'm just saying you look spiffy. Not that you don't look spiffy before. You look different spiffy. How's that?
Thank you. I'll just say thank you and call it good.
Yeah. Too little, too late, I know. Oh, well. It's sad. Waking up at 7 this morning was sleeping in compared to all this week.
Man, waking up at 7 any morning is sleeping in for me.
Yeah. You have my sympathies, man. Although I've been having to get up at least 3 times a night, except for last night, which I don't think is a good sign for her, but I slept better, but our puppy's not doing well. She's been kind of fading. But she slept all the way through the night, which, of course, more troubles us than her waking up throughout the night. So I don't know what's going on with her right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll see how things go. But I don't think she's going to be around very much longer, and it's going to be sad.
That is sad. It's sad when, when you have to make that final decision.
Yeah.
We've been through it twice, and yes, it is not a fun prospect.
No, it is not.
Da, 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 da.
You know what I've noticed? It has kind of become this weird little in vogue thing recently to whenever you have space for like movies that from movies for places for songs to have like an instrumental piece like on a podcast, like when you're using a song as like a bed or something.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, on at least the ones I've been listening to, they've been using a lot of the Austin Powers theme song.
Oh, really?
The da 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 da,
yeah,
da 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 da. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I mean that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just weird. Like a bunch of somewhat seemingly unrelated podcasts are using it all the time, and I'm just going, "Real? Okay, well, whatever." Oh, did you see that there's a Lego version of Berserk?
I did see something about that, but I haven't watched it yet.
I'm watching it right now. It's very raw, but I guess most of them that are actual Lego stop motion things are.
Kirk says that he enjoyed last week's show. He was hosting his daughter's 8th birthday party in the wonderful 95-degree weather and 150% humidity.
Ugh. Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, not so much. Not so much. Did it post? It did. Okay, good.
They actually replicated the entire thing with Legos.
That's funny.
Like it's the normal video, but they just did it with Legos. It's kind of amusing. So there's a guy who obviously is supposed to be like an American Indian head on like a dark like body with a mohawk who's like hitting things with an axe. It's pretty funny. Well, that kind of made my morning.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh, and somebody put up yet another performance by the Brothers from 1994. I have to watch that. Oh, it's like on a talent show thingy. Oh, they're all wearing bandanas and vests and jeans with the knees ripped out. That
Lovely.
is awesome.
Sounds like a Def Leppard wannabe.
Oh, I was saying New Kids on the Block probably closer, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. And they're all matching too.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm so happy this week's over, though. I think this will be my last week of pulling full-time hours at work, and it's just been...
Are you been working in the main office or something?
That, and we've been doing a ton of changes, so we put up a new wall that I didn't have to build, but I had to paint it and move everything out of the way, and we're renting out part of it, so I've just been doing tons of new stuff.
Gotcha.
And hope, it's weird. I do everything from sweep the floors to basically be their IT guy. So, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, not so much.
So, anyway.
All right.
Yeah, basically, if anyone else doesn't want to do it, then I'm doing it. So, Hoobie. That's been interesting.
Well, we should probably think about getting started. It's 10 after already, so we should contemplate it.
Okay. I heard your door shut. It was fun.
Yeah, well, my kids are downstairs watching The Sound of Music and making a lot of noise, so it's probably better this way.
Right.
Because you never know what they're going to end up doing. Yes.
With the Rock and a Hard Place podcast.
That was very scary.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I
would say that's what I was going for, but it really wasn't.
Is your mic set to auto adjust? Because you got suddenly louder.
It shouldn't be. I was leaning in, though.
I don't know. You're, Really? What do you think?
Yes.
No, you can have some fruit or a yogurt. And no caramel popcorn. Okay.
Well, give me a quick sec. I'm double checking to make sure my mic is not auto adjusting.
I don't know. You just got kind of loud and fuzzy there for a second, so I wasn't sure. Maybe it was because you went in on it.
It was probably because I was talking like this.
Okay.
I hope anyway. But yeah, no, it's not set up to automatically adjust.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll stay that way.
Good. Alrighty. So, are you ready to get started?
Oh, let's get ready to rumble in the jungle.
That that phrase is actually copyrighted, just so you know.
I know.
It's not like we don't have any other copyright notices on our on our YouTube podcast page or anything. It's like we can't monetize 3/4 of our episodes because of the music. Like, really? A 30-second clip and you got to take the entire potential? I mean, it's not enough to make a stink over it. But if I were a big-time YouTuber, I would be pissed.
Yes.
So, all right.
Hurry.
Let's get ready to hit record in 3, 2, 1. This episode of the Rock and a Hard Place podcast is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Check them out at tweakedaudio.com and enter the code HARDPLACE to get a 33% discount.
And free shipping worldwide.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Rock in a Hard Place podcast. My name is Chris Cooner. I am a DJ with Broken FM. You can check us out online at broken.fm. Joining me to my left, or maybe it's my right. I guess it depends on what angle you're watching this episode from. Well, he's in his house, I'm in mine, but his name is Paul Gibson. I know that much.
Hey guys, Paul Gibson here, the host of the Christian Rock 20, co-host of course, the Rock in a Hard Place podcast, and also sometime contributor to the Christian Music Archive radio show, which I'm so far behind on that I need to play catch up. But this work week has been killing me. So sleepy.
That is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, my kids are busting in right when we start to record. I'm like, of all the time, I've been up here talking to you for 20 minutes, and they decide right after I start recording to come in and try to talk to me. And I tell them they are not allowed in the studio while I'm recording.
This is real life, people. Real talk. Real talk.
So, anyhow, so you heard we have a new sponsor, and we are so excited to have Tweaked Audio. We'll do a little more talking about them in just a little bit and make you guys aware of everything that's going on with that. But we're super stoked to see what that is going to do help-wise for us. Really, really excited. No review from Tom this week. He's a little under the weather, so he's not. He did not send us a review, so we'll have nothing there for that slot. So unfortunate, but you know, sometimes that's life. He was like, I think it may just be allergies, but there's no way I can talk into a microphone right now. And I think we kind of understand that a little bit, huh, Paul?
Yeah, I've been there. Unfortunately, I didn't have, the option of saying, oh, I'm just not going to be there today. But, that's okay.
Yes.
I'll live.
I can always tell when you're sick because you get a lot more resonance in your voice.
That's right. I'd be like, hey, what's going on, people?
Oh, man.
Very wide in the house.
Billboard came out this week and said, bad news with album sales. It seems that Billboard has a new article called Album Sales Hit a New Low, which states this week that only 3.97 million album sales happened this last week, and it's the smallest weekly sum for album sales since the Nielsen SoundScan began tracking the data back in 1991. It's also the first time that weekly sales have fallen below the 4 million in that time span, and they go on to say that streaming is cannibalizing digital sales.
Durr.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've got a choice here. I can either go pay $15 for a CD. I can go on iTunes and I can download it for between $10 and $12, depending. Or I can pay my normal $9 a month or whatever it is for Spotify and listen to the album as much as I want, as many times as I want, for as long as I want.
And it takes up no space on your hard drive.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, you would think they would have thought about this before licensing all this music to things like Spotify and Pandora and all that kind of stuff, that they would have said, I wonder if this is going to keep people from buying albums.
Yeah, let's see. Could this possibly bite us in the rear? I think it might. just might.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's something about it that says we didn't think this through very well before we decided to sign this deal. So that means one of a couple of things, in my opinion. It means either when a lot of these licensing deals are up, the labels will either each one create their own individual streaming service so that they can try to recoup the money.
Right.
Or you will see you'll see them completely pull out of things like Spotify, and the only way you'll be able to get the album is through digital or physical purchases.
Right, or if you're just going to steal it the old-fashioned way.
Right. That's the other option, is that people just continue to steal it no matter what.
Yeah.
So, is there a right answer? I don't know, but I just seems. Does it seem as silly to you that they're whining about this as it seems to me, Paul?
I mean, it is a little silly, but at the same time, I mean, it just stinks because, I mean, it's easy for us to be on this side of things and be like, man, that stinks for you. You guys are dumb for making that decision. But on the other hand, I'm sure there are people who are, losing their jobs and who are having to figure out a new line of work because the people and labels and companies that they've been working for no longer have enough cash flow to keep them employed. And that really stinks. And yeah, in part it is their fault, and I think that it is somewhat of a responsibility either for the labels or government entities who oversee this sort of copyright thing. I don't know. I mean, I know that there were permissions given, by governmental agencies to allow this to exist in the first place. I mean, I remember it was a really big thing when Spotify was coming over. Like everyone's like, "Well, it's Spotify." It's like, "Oh, this thing that was huge in Europe, and now it's coming to the U.S. No one knows if it's going to be able to stay, but it's coming." And it's one of those things where it's really hard to go back on that. I mean, once you open that faucet, it is extremely hard to close it.
Yeah,
and even if it did get closed efficiently, I think that there is a certain amount of damage that's been done where people have gotten into this mindset more than ever of, really, I have to spend more than $10 a month on music to be able to hear whatever I want whenever I want. I'm not going to do that. And either they're just going to steal it or just go to YouTube or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, that ship has sailed, and it's hard to know what's going to happen with the music industry. I mean, it's this weird combination of it's easier than ever to make good music, equipment wise, but it's harder than ever to make money at it, and harder than ever to actually gain a sizable audience that will pay for it. So
right.
and it's even harder than ever, as we discussed before, to get people to concerts, because everyone thinks that because they've seen a shaky, overly distorted cell phone video of so-and-so performing on stage, like, I know exactly what that's all about. Plus, I've seen movies where there were people who stumbled through a concert, and I know what that's like, and I don't understand why anyone would want to. It's like, oh, okay, so the last time you saw a video of a roller coaster in motion, you were like, oh, I don't need to see that. I get exactly what that's like.
Well,
it's
the
same thing.
I'm fine with watching video of roller coasters. I will not ride roller coasters.
Well,
So
I'm right there with you on that, but I have ridden roller coasters. I know I don't like it, and that's the reason why I don't. It's not... it's not quite the same as I've never ridden a roller coaster, and I look at it and I'm like, I know exactly what that experience is.
Right, exactly.
I could have told you I was going to be scared.
Yes.
Because Polly don't like height. But,
You and I are so much alike, Paul.
Yes.
So much alike. Oh my goodness. Well, for me, I don't see anybody losing their jobs with the decline of record sales, honestly. So, I think that's slightly sensationalist if that's a direction that they're trying to assert. And I mean, I didn't read the whole article, so I don't know if that's part of what they are saying is happening within the industry. But I mean, come on. They are still making money hand over fist. So there's no real reason, in my opinion, that they need to really be worried about it. Now, the economy is still kind of in flux. Right. So we've got a little bit of that going on. But I don't know. They bought into the whole streaming deal, and now they're upset that album sales are slipping. I don't know how. Now, see, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, that's not possible in this instance.
Yeah. Now, see, what would be nice for me, I think, what to me would be the answer, and I think it's too late. I think they've already botched this. It's done. To me, the proper place of something like Spotify would be going back to some former models. I think it should be this is a model that caters to independent bands who aren't going to make money, who are looking to get discovered. Mm-hmm. It's a place where you go to find music that you've never heard before, almost like an independent music show.
Right.
That combined with big name artists who say, okay, new album is dropping in a week. For the next week, it's going to be up there. You can listen to the entire thing, decide if you like it or not, but then it goes away.
Yeah.
And then you can buy it or not buy it. And iTunes is doing some of that with their First Look, which I believe is part of the iTunes radio thing. You can go in and you can listen, like when Linkin Park's new album came out, and they usually have at least one or two a week, where you can go and like maybe the week or two before the album drops, you can listen to the whole thing. And to me, that's kind of cool. That reminds me of going to Christian bookstores, popping in the demo CD and listening to it and going, yeah, this is for me. No, this isn't for me.
Right, totally.
It helps get rid of some of that resentment of, oh, I went and bought this blind and it's terrible and I want my money back, but that can't happen kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, and even then, there are so many different ways to hear new music that I don't even know if that would be enough of a draw to keep something like Spotify in business. But to me, that would be the nice medium, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, you may as well resign yourself to that fact now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, to me, it's like trying to shove the genie back in the bottle and it's just too late. I think people are so comfortable with streaming services that the only solution I see is for the labels to then end up creating their own streaming services for their own artists, charging their own fees. But then you come back to, you know, a splintered system, and it's like, I'm not going to pay $10 a month for Warner. I'm not going to pay $10 a month for BEC, and I'm not going to pay $10 a month for, you know, Capitol or whatever some of the other big name brands are, whatever the case may be, you know, Sony. So, I mean, you're looking at $40 a month right there if they split it up and have all four available for their own catalogs only. You know, $40 a month. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. So they end up losing out there too. And odds are that might encourage people to go find it other places instead of forking over the money for the album.
Right. And see, and I think in a lot of ways they were kind of taking a cue maybe from the TV industry, because I mean, TV now has Hulu and Netflix and all of these other things where, you know, after its initial run is done, at least for a season, you know, they're still making some residual money afterwards on streaming.
Right.
That to me makes sense, because it's either going to sit on their shelves or they're going to take a chance and see how well it does in reruns later, or they're going to sell it to another network who ultimately will be kind of competing with them later, even though they'll be making money off of some content that would be sitting on the shelf. But see, the problem is the music industry, there is no first run. It is a thing that will exist. It'll be newer, obviously, when it first comes out. And that will be the time when it will probably make the majority of its money that it's going to make. But at the same time, it's not as if you can say, okay, we're not allowing it to be anywhere for the first 2 months. And then after that, it's just going to go to streaming. Then everyone will just do what my wife and I do. And it's like, okay, we don't have TV or cable. We just wait however long it takes and then watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And you know, there's just not a way to do something that works like that for music. It's just, I don't know. Music is just such a different beast than just about every other form of entertainment, where you just can't get away with certain things and expect it to make money.
No, you're exactly right. You know, it's a different entity, and you know, the old ways of making money with music, I don't think are nearly as successful as they were back then. And so it's time for them to sit down and rethink how they want to do this. You know, the cost of production should be cheaper than ever because everybody knows how to do it. So why is everything still so expensive?
Yeah.
You know, I think that maybe if they were to start cutting some of the prices on physical CDs, that you might see a resurgence in people actually buying the physical media. You know, but you cut prices on CDs, then you have to cut the pricing on the streaming stuff. Or the the digital download type things, iTunes and Amazon and that kind of stuff. Well, okay, so, but what's your profit margin on those as it is?
Yeah,
it can't be much. I mean, the files mixed, everything's set. That whole thing, you know, that whole $10 you pay for an album, Apple gets 40%, the label gets 60%, but that's 60% of pure profit. Is how I see it. Now, I could be wrong, and if anybody out there knows more than me about this, man, I am more than happy to be instructed.
Yeah, well, and the problem is that everybody, in some cases with good reason, in the making of an album will drop anywhere from, you know, 15 to 100 and something grand just on the studio time and a producer.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, having a good producer makes a ton of difference. I wouldn't even say the studio makes as big of a difference. Because so much can be done I mean, there are albums I've heard that were made in hotel rooms that I think are just as good as ones where they camped out in a professional studio that had everything for a month.
Right.
So I think a lot of it just is the know-how, but so many more people are getting the know-how. But, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because I think that know-how is definitely worth the money, but I think it's becoming increasingly or decreasingly worth the money. I mean, it's not as much worth it now as it was before just because you're looking at the product and going, okay, if we have to invest this certain amount of money up front to make just like a really, really good product, the chances of you recouping that are getting lower and lower with every passing year.
Yeah, no, and that's true. Well, and I think that artists need to be realistic about how much their time and investment is worth.
Yeah.
And labels need to be realistic about how much money they intend to make off of a particular artist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I see that there's like a major revamp that needs to happen, but everybody's concerned that it means we're going to make less money for a little while, and that can't happen because I have to have my 25-bedroom mansion and drive my my Lexus or Ferrari or whatever down the street. So I don't know. We're at an interesting place, I think, in the music industry overall, and this affects not just mainstream music. This is Christian rock, secular rock, AC, Christian AC. It's everybody that's going through the same struggles. So this is not relegated to any one particular group or people or type or anything like that. This is industry wide.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how all this affects things. And then also, I mean, this I think kind of shook a lot of people up as well. I don't know if you'd heard about this, Chris, but on one of the little trade email things I got sent out recently, it was discovered that Radio Disney liquidated all but 2 of their terrestrial stations, and they're going all digital on just either internet streams or otherwise.
Really?
And a lot of people are seeing that as being kind of a harbinger of doom. They're like, oh, well, if Disney's dumping, does that mean we should be too?
Well, I will say this. It is much, much, much cheaper to maintain a digital-only radio station.
Oh, absolutely.
Than it is.
And they said that only I think it was between 4 and 10% of their listenership for Radio Disney was coming from terrestrial stations.
Right.
So for them, it made total sense. And I get that. I mean, their audience are the generation of kids who are growing up with their parents buying them a smartphone at age 5.
Right.
I mean, it's the kids who have time on their hands, have parents have some money in the bank, and that's their audience. And for them, totally get it because it's like they either have a smartphone or their parents have bought them a tablet, or they have an easy way to be able to access this. And most of them see the radio as something that you listen to in the car when the iPod's dead.
Right.
It's
right.
not necessarily the thing that it was. So I don't know. It's hard to say on that too, but that's just a whole different bucket of worms for us. It's like, what does that mean? And it's throwing panic into a lot of people who are radio ownerships because they're like, oh no, it's like, well, those kids are going to grow up. What's going to happen then?
Right. That's exactly right. Where are they going to go? What are they going to do? Well, odds are it's going to have something to do with internet. I mean, our director for the radio station is in the process of getting TV stuff going for over-the-air television, and over-the-air television is seeing a bit of a renaissance right now. That we've got. People are cutting the cable and beginning to go back to the old school antenna style of receiving, and it's just a matter of trying to cut the costs.
Yeah.
And get still get television in that regard. I mean, you and I are both cord cutters. We don't have cable TV or anything like that in our homes.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to gloat or anything. It's just it was so expensive and I didn't feel I was getting my money's worth, so we stopped paying for it.
Right. Yeah.
And so, I could see putting up an antenna because I enjoy sports and I want to be able to watch my 49ers play football. Even if they're crappy, I still want to be able to see and enjoy the game, And so I get this, I get this idea of an antenna and stuff like that. I understand it as a possibility of something growing But I don't think it'll ever be as big as cable because I don't think a lot of people are going to want to take the time to have an antenna put up and to, point it in the right direction and make the adjustments necessary to make sure that you're getting the best signal possible and all of that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's more work on the front end. Yeah.
It is. But, here you pay. I think I figured it out for an antenna and a little booster thing is like $165, $170 shipped to my door, and then I just have to put it up.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty cheap when you figure if it lasts for 10 years, you're looking at $16 a year versus a minimum $50, $60, $70 a month.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
because the last time I actually had cable was when I was at a radio station that had a commercial trade agreement where I got cable for free for talking about it. And that was awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
That's been long gone, and it's hard to justify paying for that when you can pay like $10 a month to like Hulu Plus and get pretty much all the stuff that we really cared about.
Yeah.
On demand and so.
I hear ya. Well, let's finish that dead horse. That dead horse is dead.
Yeah, let's wipe our mouths and walk away.
Exactly. Darkness Divided. Now, I know I was in the studio the other day, and an envelope showed up, and I cracked it open, and it happened to have a copy of brand new music from Darkness Divided, but they've also gone through some member changes, it seems.
Yeah. Their drummer has left on good terms. His name is Israel Hernandez, and he's left the band. I don't know why. As far as I know, they haven't really said, but they've just said, look, we're not fighting. It's just he moved on to other things. And then a guy who used to be in the band as their drummer named Isaiah Alonso is coming back in to fill in on tour, at least. I'm guessing until they find a full-time person to take his place. And then they've also welcomed into the fold Sebastian Elizondo. And in case you haven't noticed, I think the majority of their lineup is Hispanic, just based on the names, and they look a little Hispanic, but they're cool dudes. But he's coming in to do some guitar work and some clean vocals. And their new album is called Written in Blood. And if you guys are fans of like, I don't know, around 2000-ish to 2010-ish metalcore stuff, and you're like, man, everything now is just a little different. I kind of miss it when, Under Oath first, started to really get big with that kind of stuff. This is an album for you. It is really good. And I've been kind of jaded towards hard music. I really dig bands like Demon Hunter and some other ones that are just mainstays for me. But as far as just going out and being like, what's the latest thing in metalcore? I haven't done that for a while. And the rep for Victory Records, I kept on getting phone calls from him. Total cool dude. But he kept on calling me like, hey, man, I want to talk to you about this band Islander and also Darkness Divided. I'm like, yeah, I like Islander. You sent me some stuff from them before, and I really dig them. And he's like, oh, you need to check out Darkness Divided. They're really good metalcore. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I'm like, and the whole time I'm thinking, I can't play it in my show. It doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. So my interest level starts at about maybe 50% right there. And then finally he's like, have you listened to it? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So I finally popped it in. I'm like, dang, this is good. So I've been enjoying it ever since. So good on him for, I think Tom and Eric are both the guys who hound me from Victory Records. I wish more labels took the initiative that they take. Yeah. Because here they are. I mean, they're a fairly big label. I mean, they're not tooth and nail, but I mean, they're a big label. They specialize in hardcore and whatnot. And I think they're a mainstream label that sometimes has Christian bands, if I'm not mistaken. But their reps are just all over it. And had they not been all over it, I probably would have never listened to either one of these bands. And I'm so happy that they did, because I'm enjoying them. And the Islander song is on this week's Christian Rock 20. It's called Coconut Dracula.
Okay.
And it's been doing really well, like in music video countdown contests, like on Noise Creep and whatnot. They're generated by listener votes, and it's really good. They remind me of a good combination of like good Charlotte, Blindside, and some heavier stuff like maybe Rage Against the Machine and whatnot. It's like all the best things about like the mid 2000s that I miss is all there combined together, and it's just their new album Violence and Destruction is so good.
Good deal. Yep, Darkness Divided. I haven't listened because I don't think it's my thing.
I can guarantee you that it's not.
So yeah. So, but I know Dustin was excited, and he actually talked to one of the guys in the band the other day. He had an interview with them that played the other day. So he definitely, the hardcore guy, loves it. So it doesn't surprise me that you enjoy it like you do as well, Paul.
Right. Yeah.
So check it out. New album is called Written in Blood, and it's available everywhere, they say. Everywhere, which means I should be able to walk to my neighbor's house and buy it.
Well, you probably could, but only if they have a computer.
Yeah. Oh, snap.
You just got served.
That's oh, yeah. Let's see. Bad Christian picks up a couple of new bands, and I don't think that they're going to come as much of a surprise when you find out who they are.
Not even a little bit.
The Classic Crime and Vocal Few, both featuring Matt McDonald, have partnered with Bad Christian to release some upcoming material. The Classic Crime's new album, titled What Was Done Volume 1, will release this fall, and Matt's been working with BC as their marketing director.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, those guys got signed around the same time. I know that they've got kind of a bond. They're both from... well, no, they're not both from the Northwest. I always think Emery's from the Northwest, and I don't think they are. I think they're actually from the South, but for some reason or another, I always think of them being from around Seattle. But the Classic Crime is, but I don't think Emery is. I think maybe a couple of their members may be up in this area now or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that you're right in that Emery is from the South. I mean, you just listen to their... If you can stomach listening to their podcast, you will definitely hear those tones.
Yeah, Toby, he'd be a Southern boy.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. So, yeah. So, it doesn't surprise me at all. I know Matt's been friends with these guys for a while now. He was on, I think, the first or second episode of their Bad Christian podcast. So it's no surprise at all. The part that surprises me is just the fact that they are on they opted to go with another label instead of staying independent. That's the part that surprised me because. You think independent, you can stand to make a lot more money, but it's also a lot more work for the individual band and the members and that kind of stuff. So, why the change? I don't know. Maybe Matt was just tired of doing a lot of the heavy lifting and decided to, to let somebody else do a lot of that instead. It was funny when the Classic Crime first went independent. They sent us their single, and it was like a week and a half later, and Matt McDonald calls Tim and says, "Hey, I got our next single ready for you. I want it to start next week." And Tim's like, "Yeah, normally you wait like a month or so before you release another single because your first single has no opportunity to climb the charts if it's competing against itself, especially."
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So it's you kind of let this one run its course for a little while. Yeah. And then you can, in a month or two, if it starts to fall off the charts, if it's dropping, then call us and we can start to pull that one and put a new one in. You just got to give it some time. A week and a half, 2 weeks, not really a good test run for a song.
Right. Yeah.
So...
yeah, and Tim is also pointing out in the chat room that Matt also works for Bad Christian in a capacity. I don't remember exactly what that capacity is, but he is involved with kind of what they're doing. And I think that they have a lot of similar viewpoints, which is cool. I'm totally down with that. And they're really nice guys in the Classic Crime. I don't know the guys in Emery quite as well.
Yeah.
But, I think that that'll be a fun partnership for them. And if nothing else, it's always nice if you're trying to do a normal job. It's nice to have somebody else who their normal job is to push something, because then you're not having to say, okay, I spent all day at Guitar Center working, or all day at a coffee shop, or all day running an office, whatever it is that the Classic Crime guys are doing on a day-to-day basis, and then saying, I have to go home and schedule a bunch of social media stuff.
Yeah.
I really don't care about this right now.
Yeah, no, totally. There's There's a lot of that. So, Paul, you'll get a kick out of this.
Okay.
Tim got a call from the whoever it was that was doing promotions for the Disciple single.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently she was trying to find out why the single wasn't performing as well as they'd expected.
Aha.
And
Did they get referred to the podcast where we talked about it?
No, but Tim did tell them, well, perhaps it's that whole adult contemporary breakdown in the middle of the song.
Which, here's the part. Here's what kills me about that. I've listened to, I think, almost the entire rest of the record. That's the only song that happens in. The rest of it is some of the heaviest stuff they've ever released, and it's good. I mean, it's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But and it's not even that, okay, that's the only one that's like really blunt. No. The album is very much blunt, upfront, Jesus is my rock and my shield kind of lyric stuff, which I'm okay. There are bands that can pull it off. Disciple's one of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the whole praise and worship breakdown thing. And it's funny because I put up on Twitter when I started listening to it, I was like, okay, I'm 3 to 4 tracks into Attack by Disciple. I'm sold. And somebody wrote back, they're like, what? No praise and worship breakdown? I was like, no, that's the only one. They're like, by the way, I like that song, but still, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, so she actually said that she was going to talk to the label and maybe see about a radio edit that clips that out.
I think that would be a dynamite idea.
Yeah. So if it happens, Tim is taking all credit.
Tim, you have it. You have it. And I might send you a thank you card.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I love the song, and I don't even hate that part. It just feels weird.
Yeah, it does. It does feel very weird. Okay, one last thing to ambush you with before we get into our main topic.
Is it the KJ thing or some other
No. Oh, no, I guess we still have that. My favorite mouth breather, as I like to call him, is in the studio getting ready to release a new album. I think it said it drops in November. Is that is it November or October?
You would ask me that.
I would
it's
ask you
October.
that.
I think it's October.
So
October
it's coming out.
21st. There we go. It's in the headline. Woo!
Woohoo! There you go.
And he's sporting a new haircut that actually kind of works for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I think it's supposed to be a shorter album for him, though, which I find very interesting because, like, in recent history, it feels like all of his albums are like 15 to 20-something songs.
well, when you trim out all the breathing, it actually makes for a much shorter album.
Now, see, this is what excites me about it, mouth breathing or not, is that the opening song is called Game Face. I haven't heard it yet, but I love the fact that it calls it a jock jam adrenaline experience, but it's also got guest vocals from KB and Soul Glow Activator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about that.
It should definitely be interesting to see.
Yes, or to hear in this case.
Yes, well, that too. I mean, I'm sure he'll make videos.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll make videos. Okay.
Which, by the way, speaking of Soul Glow, I finally got a chance to listen to his show.
Uh-huh.
It was well mixed.
Well, I would hope so.
Yes, it was well mixed. Okay, we can move on now.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Hey, Paul, to your knowledge, have you ever been listed in the liner notes of an album?
Yes, once
Once?
that I know of.
What album? What band?
I think it's the new one from. Oh, you would ask me that.
I know who it is.
Love Like Gravity.
Yes.
That made my day.
You actually, so how did you find out?
Tom Labonte.
What?
Tom Labonte.
He spoiled my surprise then.
Ah.
He sent it to me, and I was supposed to bring it up last week, and I forgot.
Yeah.
That jerk.
But it was fun, though, and I'm sorry that it killed it for you. And I meant to bring it up last week, too, and I totally forgot. See, we both forgot.
Oh, that jerk.
Would you say you hate Tom Labonte?
I can't say that. That's your line.
Which we toyed with the idea of making that the coupon code for our new sponsor, Tweaked Audio.
That's right.
I think we decided against it because Labonte would be maybe too hard for the average American to spell. So we decided not to go with that. We could have just gone with I Hate Tom, I guess. But
So according to Case, one of the members of the band,
yeah,
Tom asked him if it was, in fact, the Paul Gibson that was mentioned. And this is what Case had to say.
okay.
Paul has been a big supporter of Love Like Gravity over the last few years, and we greatly appreciate him helping us share our message with a larger audience.
Aww.
So there you go.
I'm blushing.
So if you happen to buy the new Love Like Gravity, you will read through and see that the album is called Chain Reaction, and you will see Paul Gibson, our very own little Paul, listed in the liner notes.
Yeah.
So congrats, dude. I think it's awesome. When he sent that to me, I thought, I wonder if Paul does know. And so I'm glad you do know about it. I wish I would have been the one to break the news to you, though. Stupid
See,
Tom.
it's weird. I feel like I've arrived. You know, I'm on a hit podcast.
That's right.
I got a meme now that Tom made, which made my day, and now I'm listed in liner notes. I mean, I don't know what else could possibly go right except for actually making money.
Can life actually get any better? Can life get any better? Well, speaking of making money, let's take a quick break and let's actually talk about our sponsor, Tweaked Audio. So these guys make earbuds and headphones. They're available online. Inexpensive prices, but from what I hear, the build quality is fantastic. I was talking to my younger brother yesterday, and he actually has a pair that he's had for about a year and a half, and he does building maintenance and lawn care and that kind of stuff for a church here in town. And he said that... He said they're pretty ruggedly built, and he's never had a problem with his. So
Nice.
super, super cool. They've got 7 different styles, 7 different colors. You can get them with a mic or without a mic to be able to use with your smartphones. They are noise reducing, so they sell the earbuds, like what you get from Apple kind of things. And then they have the kind with the silicone tips that you get to shove inside your ears, and it helps block out a lot of the outside noise. Free shipping and a lifetime warranty. You can order them, check them out, whatever the case may be, through tweakedaudio.com. And if you use the code HARDPLACE, all one word, case doesn't matter, HARDPLACE, you will get 33% off on your purchase. And your purchase actually helps fund the Rock and a Hard Place podcast because we get a small percentage of that. So it's a win-win-win-win-win.
That's right. That's right. I can't wait to test them out, though. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking at the website and all the different styles, and I don't know. I may be most excited about their Eddie style, which is like the over-the-ear thing, because they look pretty rugged, and I like the fact that they have, like, I guess it's Beats was the first company that I saw that did it, but they have that, they have like you get to plug the wire into the headphone, so it's removable. So if you jack up your wire, then you can replace
You can get a new one. Nice.
Yeah. And then also, if you snag it on something, to me, it seems like it would be more likely to come unplugged rather than that wonderful yanking the headphones over your face thing that happens to me all the time. I'm just like, oh, it gets caught, and I'm like, oh, God,
Yeah.
that hurts.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
So I'm excited about that.
most of our listeners know that I'm a Mac user, and I was sitting down in the living room the other day, and I was working on my laptop, and my puppy ran through, and he got all caught up in the cord.
Oh.
And under normal circumstances, it would have ripped my laptop off the table and onto the floor. But Apple
Right.
uses this cool thing called MagSafe that's like a magnetic connection. And my laptop did not move at all. The cable went whipping away. And I just reached down, grabbed the cable, and stuck it in. So there you go. Oh, Kirk says he's going to order a pair this week. He's looking at the Naturals,
Woohoo!
which are nice. They're wooden. It's got like a wood bezel on it. Oh, they look really nice.
Yeah,
so
those
we
are
have
cool.
some Tweaked is sending us some samples so that we can actually use them and then talk intelligently about how good they sound. So we will be sure to be letting you guys know what our favorite pairs are and all of that kind of stuff. So when we get them, Paul, what I'll do is we'll sit down on Skype and I'll show you each pair, and you'll choose which ones I ship up to you. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan. Although I want
All
you
right.
to have first pick, though, because you're the one who finagled all this. So I want you to at least pick the pair that you want the most, and then I don't mind taking what's left. I will be totally cool with that.
It didn't take a lot of
Whatever
finagling. I sent him an email and said, hey, we're a podcast. I know you've sponsored other podcasts. Are you interested? And a gentleman by the name of Griff sent me an email back and said, well, I'll take a listen and see. And the next day he sent me an email and it says, Chris, we're in. Boom.
Nice.
So...
Very cool.
Yep. So we were super excited about that. Let me see here. Well, we don't have a review, as I said earlier. Tom was not feeling well. He thinks he might have allergies, an allergy attack going on. So we are not going to have a review this week. So we'll dive into the main topic now. I chose this topic. Paul had nothing to do with it, and it was based off of an article that Kevin Max actually posted on his Facebook page. So you might have seen this, Paul. I don't know. But the title of the article is called Top 10 Christian Songs That Also Work as Parodies of Christian Songs.
I saw the article, but I didn't read it, so I'm actually looking forward to this.
Okay, so I went through and read some of this, and some of it I may agree with, some of it I may not, but I kind of want your opinion on this. So this is from the website called faithstreet.com. I want to make sure I give all credit where credit is due. It was written by a gentleman by the name of Mark Steele, and he says, a look back at an era of Christian pop that was so bad it's good. Okay, so I kind of want to talk through the article a little bit. Mark starts out with, the land of contemporary Christian music was not always the too earnest, every worship song sounds identical tableau that we have today. The mid-'80s through mid-'90s brought us some of the kitschiest youth group anthems this side of a God's Not Dead theme song. Some tunes pushed a little close to self-parody, but trust me, they are so bad, they are great. Here are the 10 absolute best. He says as an added bonus, they're all up-tempo, so if you had an evangelical upbringing, you can dance your disillusionment out to the playlist. All right. Song number 10.
Okay.
Boycott Hell by DeGarmo and Key.
All right.
From the album The Pledge, which came out in 1989. Now, his thoughts are, following a slew of too clever CCM turn-of-phrase hits, DeGarmo and Key decided to take the tongue-in-cheek route themselves. What could be more relatable to Christian teens than a labor union metaphor? They might as well have called the song Get All AFL-CIO on the Devil. And the key lyric is, bury your foolish pride, we gotta unionize, hey, don't you think it's time to boycott hell? So what do you think, Paul? Are they right on with that one?
It is. I mean, some of these songs, I will fully admit that if you start to break them down, they really do break down. I mean, they fall apart under heavy scrutiny. I mean, it's like, I would say that songs like Boycott Hell are a bit like going to go see a 90s action movie.
Yeah.
You go, you see it, you have to just sit back and enjoy it, because if you think about it too much, you ruin it for yourself.
So let's say The Expendables 1, 2, and probably 3, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. It's the kind of movie to where you don't go to watch that movie for the plot.
No.
You watch that movie because it's got Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Steve Austin and who else? I mean, everybody that you have ever seen in an action movie all together in one film, and they're all like 90.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Now I didn't get all the way down to the bottom of the list, but I know the Newsboys actually did kind of a cover of Boycott Hell.
Correct.
And they kind of threw a rap breakdown in the middle that used to drive me nuts.
Which was Steve Taylor.
Yes, exactly. And see, I think that's part of what fed my
distaste.
Yes, distaste of Steve Taylor in that regard. You know, just that one line really bugged me, and the line was, "Oh, Kirk's got to go, so goodbye, Kirk. Thanks for listening, buddy."
Love you, man.
He says, "I too believe we've got to boycott hell, but we should also boycott stupid lyrics as well." Yeah. And I didn't know, and I still don't really know. Maybe you can ask him sometime when you see him, Paul, since you know you're like best buds with this guy. Maybe I don't know if that was tongue in cheek and he said other songs were stupid, or if he was saying that song had stupid lyrics, and if it has stupid lyrics, then why are the Newsboys doing a cover of it? Because you would think they wouldn't want to waste their time. So I was very confused. I was very confused.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I will make a mental note of that, and I will do my dead level best to ask him about that.
That'd be great. That would be great. Okay, so number 9 on this list. This is probably going to hit a little too close to home, Paul.
Uh-oh. I'm scared now.
This disco used to be a cute cathedral by Steve Taylor from On the Fritz, which came out in 1985.
Right.
Okay. We all owe Steve Taylor a debt of gratitude. He single-handedly ushered in... Oh, now Tim's got to leave. My goodness, guys.
We're boring everybody.
Apparently. I picked a bad topic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Have a good one, Tim. Let's see. He single-handedly ushered CCM out of self-seriousness and was both resident Einstein and class clown for a decade. Too bad he didn't have more listeners. So obviously this guy's a Steve Taylor fan. Okay. In between the mad genius of Meltdown and I Predict 1990 and before the breathtaking Squint, Taylor hit his personal nadir with this over-cute ditty about a dance club residing in an abandoned church. Musically, this is Steve Taylor's weakest offering within his oeuvre. Obviously, it certainly didn't need its own dance remix. However, it's downright prescient. How many churches today don't feel like a dance club with a Starbucks in the lobby? Avoid this track if you must, but pop the cassette in anyway and stick around for Drive, He Said, and Lifeboat. They are the exact opposite of the 10 songs on this list.
Huh. I don't know that I would agree with that. But then again, I am a Steve Taylor fan. I grew up with this song. And I don't know. I can't speak to whether it's musically good or not. I mean, I usually can, but I don't know. I mean, tell me if this just have you ever heard this song before?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's hard for me to not hear this and it gets stuck in my head. It's so catchy. The bass line alone does it for me, but just
right. Well, and that's his point. I mean, for when it was written, you know, to take a look at churches nowadays where they have the Starbucks in the lobby, you know, you got the coffee cart or whatever, and everybody grabs their coffees and lattes and then goes in and sits down to drink them during the service. I think that's kind of his thing. It wasn't, and you have said for a long time that Steve was ahead of his time. I just lost your mic. No. You're completely gone. You gotta love it.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my power blinked.
Oh, okay.
Weird.
Yeah, that's very weird. So, yeah, I was just saying that, you know, it's very... He was ahead of his time, and this song seems to be that way. He's talking about churches of the future without realizing that he's talking about churches of the future. And now the key lyric that they use here is, this disco used to be a cute cathedral where we only play the stuff you're wanting to hear.
That's right. That's right.
So, Very interesting. All right.
Just for a heads up,
Yes.
you're going to hate me, but you're going to have to do some editing because my recording stopped when the power blinked. So
Oh, well, that's all right.
We lost about maybe a minute and a half there. But
We'll figure it out. Did you start it again?
yes, we're started again and we're
Okay.
all good now.
Good.
But yeah.
Tell your power to knock it off.
Quit it! I mean, stay!
Yeah, don't say quit. Don't say quit.
leave.
Don't say quit. That's bad. Okay, number 8. God Gave Rock and Roll to You by Petra off of the Beat the System album in 1985. Originally written and performed by the Brit rockers Argent, Petra co-opted this unspeakably ridiculous anthem and sucked all of the rock out of it until it was little more than a synthesizer squeak. In a way, the band pulled off an impressive feat. They sang a Christian song about rock music that had no potent Christian message and did not rock. Key lyric, God gave rock and roll to you, put it in the soul of everyone. Also seen on a kitten poster in Hallmark.
I would so buy that poster.
I feel the most hurt by that one, honestly, because at the time, I felt like the song did rock.
Yeah.
And then I heard Kiss's version that was used in the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey movie, and it kind of blew it out of the water.
Yeah. And then you hear the Bride version with DOC, and that one's really good too.
Yeah, that one's not too bad. I mean, it definitely rocks more than the Petra version does. But I mean, you think about it at the time, Beat the System, I mean, that was the last album with Greg X. Volz, I believe. I think the next album was This Means War with John Schlitt.
I'll take your word on that. I'm not as big of a Petra expert as you are. I could look it up, I'm sure, but I couldn't tell you for sure on that.
Well,
but yeah,
you know what?
mean,
I could be wrong. Back to the Street might have come out after Beat the System.
I think you're right.
And that would have been
that
Back to the
sounds right.
Street would have been the last album with Greg X. Volz. Okay. Anyhow, you were going to say. You don't remember.
I don't know. It's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, for the time, you have to put things in a certain context because, yeah, looking back on it now, it's so not rock, but rock was taking a weird turn around that time. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that was probably around the same time, at least in a general time period that Van Halen was experimenting with doing a lot of keyboard stuff instead of a ton of guitar stuff.
Right.
And that was kind of like where everyone was trying to figure out what was going to happen. I'm sure people will look back on some of the stuff that still falls within the rock genre now. They'll be like, what's up with all the electronics in it?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
'Cause
Totally.
it comes and goes in waves, you know, and at least for a while, I mean, you were no longer considered a rock band, like a meaty rock band, if you had a keyboard in it. You know, it's kind of that pushback to that later on. So I mean, everything comes and goes in cycles. But I like the song. I wouldn't say it's like an awesomely written song, but it's one of those ones that you just can't help but to sing along with at least a little bit, you know?
I agree.
It's just uber catchy.
Yes. Yes. All right, moving on to track number 7. Got to Be True, Stephen Curtis Chapman from The Great Adventure in 1992.
I'm sure that song is terrible, but I don't remember it.
Oh, really? You Got to Be True. It's got Toby Mac in it.
Oh, I barely.
All right.
Barely.
All right. Fun fact, most every successful male CCM artist of the early 90s was required to have Toby Mac break down a rhyme in lieu of the song bridge, especially if their own music style was in complete contradiction to Toby Mac's aesthetic. Case in point, this unfortunate entry from one of Christian music's most earnest and impacting troubadours. The uber irony, the song is about being genuine. The key lyric is, you see, I like rap music and the beatbox groove, and sometimes I got to admit, I close all the doors and wave my arms around and I pace the floor. But then I crack up laughing. I got to stop and just face the facts. The boy don't hip hop.
That one is a little embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. Just I don't even remember the song, but just that part does kind of embarrass me. It's just a little
Yeah.
And the sad thing is probably when that came out, I can almost guarantee you that I thought that was pretty rad.
Oh, totally. Well, for me, it was like Stephen Curtis Chapman and Toby back together in one song. Can the world get any better?
Dog poop. This is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Number 6. To Hell with the Devil. Striper off of To Hell with the Devil from 1986. If you look at it one way, Striper is attempting to rattle the religious establishment by co-opting the most milk toast of all swear words into their faux metal anthem. On the other hand, they're telling Satan to basically go back to his house.
Right.
And yes, those 4 shirtless angels on the cover are supposed to be buff versions of the band. And yes, they are ripping Satan limb from limb with their bare hands and a flying V guitar. And yes, Satan is wearing boot-cut jeans.
See, I have to look at the cover again now because I vaguely remember it, but I'm gonna have to refresh myself on this.
It's basically 4 guys flying over a chasm.
Yeah. I see it. Oh, that is nice.
Yeah. Let me see here. The key lyric is, he's never been the answer. There's a better way. We are here to rock you and to say to hell with the devil.
What's up with the giant pentagram on the chain?
I don't. Maybe that's what he's going to be bound with.
I guess so. I mean, they're pulling on the chain, but it's like if that's the devil's necklace, that is like the biggest necklace ever.
Like what was his? I can't think of his name now. Flava Flav. Satan is the Flava Flav of hell.
And I just now noticed that the devil is like half demon, half human, because half of him is like a human being, the other half is like devil with claws and
right
thing.
Right. Well, because if Satan doesn't look like that, nobody gets to recognize him.
Right. And if he just looked human and they were doing that, they'd be like, those angels are mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hell with the devil. Oh, that's supposed to be the devil. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. I get it.
I'm on board with this. Hurt him.
All right. Number 5, Trains Up in the Sky by Mylan and Brokenheart. From the album Sheep in Wolves' Clothing, 1985. Why would you, as a Christian, I don't know, sheep in wolves' clothing? I mean, I've heard of wolf in sheep's clothing, but that just seems really like not a well thought out answer. Title.
Maybe they're just saying it's good people trying to be bad.
Yeah, I don't know. So his comments are, where exactly do I begin? The color palette of the album sleeve, the parachute shirts, the band wearing spandex, the mullets, the keytar.
In case you haven't noticed, it's playing in the background right now.
No, that's great. The Bad Boy album name. No, I will start with the fact that when performing live, Mylan could never remember the lyrics. These lyrics. Yama, yama, yeah, ah. Get up, try and find a way. We will find a way today. You, try and find a way. Get up, trains in the sky.
We'll find a way today. You try and find a way. Get up, drink up in the sky. Sit down, listen to the sound.
It is pretty bad. It's catchy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once again, this probably would have been my jam had I really known this song back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we rock it.
All right, number 4 hits a little close to home for me.
Okay, all right. I'm preparing myself.
And I don't know. This might do something for you too, Paul. I'm not sure. Convertibles by Whiteheart.
I will be honest. I think the first time that I actually actively knew that song and could have said I know that there is a Whiteheart song called Convertibles. It wasn't because of the Whiteheart version. It was because of this version.
Hey, are you ready to go? I got the top turned down on my GTO. Come on.
In case you didn't know, that is the Swirling Eddies covering it in a bit of a lambastic way on their Sacred Cows album. So
I thought it was William Hung.
it's meant to be purposefully bad. I don't quite. Yeah. I'll be perfectly honest. Only about maybe 3 of the songs off that album I get why they did in that way, because they pretty much cover a ton of songs and they do them all in really weird ways where you're like, oh, that was interesting. I don't ever want to hear that again.
Right, and yet you have the album.
Yes, I do.
All right. So the key lyric they said is, "I haven't got to care, feel so good and free, just like God's sitting next to me. God made convertibles. As the high and mighty's known, he's not a manufacturer." And it says, you have to hand it to Whiteheart. They finally found a word that rhymes with manufacturer. They did not. Silly at best, this song feels more like a commercial for antidepressants with a guitar solo where there should be a list of disclaimers. Oh, man. All right. Moving on to track number 3, Love Crusade by Michael W. Smith.
I don't remember that one either.
Really?
It's off of the title.
It's off of the album Go West, Young Man from back in 1990. This was his crossover album.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Hang on. I've got it. That sounds kind of familiar. Oh, there's Tony Palacios. Oh, well, you can keep talking.
So it says, this album was awesome. Not just because my girlfriend's mom had the blazer and that hairstyle, and not just because Smitty sang every song imitating Carol Spinney. This album borders on epic because MWS raps. Oh, how he raps. He pours out his heart after uncorking it with that black fedora on the album cover and drops this violent rhyme bomb. Hatred'll spoil the feast. That's the nature of the beast. So don't ever let your heart be swayed. Draw the sword, slay the dragon, get on the bandwagon, and be a fighter on the Love Crusade. This bloodlusty imagery is, of course, followed by a chorus of na-nas. Oh, yeah.
I would totally go to where that rap part is, but I couldn't tell you exactly where the time code is for that. So.
Yeah, no, it's a little over halfway through the song. It's like the main breakdown portion, but it's all good. So it's funny. I never really thought about it. You know, you're talking about the Love Crusade. So what do you talk about in the midst of talking about love? Grabbing a sword and killing a dragon.
He was an early predecessor to Game of Thrones. Evidently.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing that's hard for me with this list is I used to know every lyric to most of these songs.
Right.
You know, I mean, the Mylan and Broken Heart one I didn't know, and of course the Steve Taylor I didn't really know. I mean, I knew the chorus.
Right.
But most of these songs is like, oh my goodness, this is my youth that is sitting on a page being ripped apart in front of me. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay with it. So, all right. So who do you think number 1 is?
Probably DC Talk somehow. It just has to be.
You know what? Number 2 is Carmen.
Oh, well, that makes total sense, too. Which one? I mean, there's so many to choose from.
Who is in the house?
Oh, yes! That would have been my pick.
So he starts off with, I know you're thinking, how is Carmen not number 1? You'll see in this song, Carmen hip hops into the white man rapping bandwagon, and it sounds like your grandmother flash dancing. Key lyric: born to a virgin named Mary on Christmas Day. He bled and he died on the cross to take sin away. You take him high, you take him low, you take JC wherever you go. Exactly who in youth group is taking him high, and should we report them to the police? Someday, this will rest in a hymnal on page 153 opposite "It Is Well With My Soul." By the way, JC is Jesus. I think I still have that album too. The Standard, yeah, I still have that album. And as far as calling him a white man rapping, I mean, I guess you could say that. He's Italian, so he's a little more dark-skinned than most white guys. So I'm not sure how that plays into anything. But yes. So track number 1. So you called it DC Talk. Which song do you think?
It could be "I Love Rap Music." That
Nope.
would be my initial guess. but
Later
it's
album
not.
than that.
Later than that.
Yes.
Is it just Jesus Freak?
No.
Okay, so it's not Jesus Freak. It's after.
It's after their first album, but it's before Jesus Freak.
Maybe like "Love Is a Verb."
No. You're in the right wheelhouse, though.
Well, hang on. Let me pull up because it has to be off of "Free at Last."
You're right. It is.
Let me see here.
I like this game. We should play this more.
You're right. Maybe "That Kind of Girl."
No.
Or "The Hard Way."
It was controversial.
Oh, the "I Don't Want Your Sex."
That's the one.
Hey, I don't know that I would have picked that one.
I Don't Want It, Your Sex for Now. DC Talk off of Free at Last from 1992.
Yes.
Let's see here. This one actually is a parody, right? Right? No? Impossible. I mean, the lyric obsesses over teen sex more than George Michael's biggest hit. And that song was actually called "I Want Your Sex." No abstinent song has made more teens think about sex in an infinite loop than this song about refusing sex. No, wait. This song about refusing sex for now. I suppose we will need to ask the singer again in 10 minutes. So the key lyric is, "Yo, sex is a test when I'm pressed. So back off, yo, with less of that zest. Impress this brother with a life of virtue. The innocence that's spent is going to hurt you. Safe is the way they say to play. Then again, safe ain't safe at all today. So just wait for the mate that's straight from God and don't give it up till you tie the knot."
Yeah.
Now, I have a little tidbit to add.
Okay, go for it.
I do not normally make it a practice of listening to the Bad Christian podcast. However, they did an interview with Kevin Max from DC Talk a few weeks ago. And so I fast-forwarded through all the garbage and got to the interview itself.
Right.
And I listened to the interview. And there was a part in the interview where Kevin said a lot of people probably didn't realize that when we recorded the "I don't want it," that was done in a split stereo. So you would hear "I" in the left ear and "don't" in the right ear, and then "want" in the left ear.
I can see where this is going.
So if your right ear wasn't working, it sounded like it was saying "I want it."
Or just "I want."
I want, yes.
Want sex for now.
That's right.
Yeah, they should have thought that through a little bit better.
Oh man!
Like,
so
you had a loose connection in your car stereo, then you were getting subliminal messages from
that's
DC
exactly
Talk that they
right.
want to have sex with you.
That's exactly right, and that was what Kevin's comment was. So it sounded like we were sex fiends, is what it sounds like. So once again, that was written by Mark Steele. It is from faithstreet.com. It is called The Top 10 Christian Songs That Also Work as Parodies of Christian Songs. And so if you want to have a good laugh, go through. They've got music videos for most of them, so that you can go through and actually listen to a lot of the tracks and see the artists. And of course, this is Stryper in their heyday in the yellow and black spandex leather type material. For To Hell with the Devil. So, go check it out. You will probably get a kick out of it and all that good stuff. I'm tempted to actually post this link over in the 90s Christian Music Addicts and see what they think of it. So, good.
That's fantastic.
Good stuff. Yeah, so hopefully that was enjoyable for everyone. I certainly thought it was. All right, let's move on to the next thing. How about this?
The Rock in a Hot Place podcast presents
The one and the only. All right, boys and girls, get ready for
The Stew.
It is time for the cooking up that we do in the slow cooker called the stew. Meaty, vegetable-y, gravy. Love it. All right, so now that I'm done with being cheesy, we're going to get into the game we
It's
call
not
the stew.
easy being cheesy.
Yeah, man.
This podcast
Anyway.
sponsored by Cheetos. No.
Yeah. Cheetos, if you want to send us money, we will say your name more often. So here's the thing. It's 3 songs, 1 movie. There's you could kind of say there's a theme, but I wouldn't think of it in terms of there being a theme, because if you do, it'll just probably steer you in the wrong direction or make your head hurt. So just don't think of there being a theme this week. So 2 clips from the same movie and then 3 different song clips. Chris has to try to figure them all out, and we'll hope that he does well. So
We'll
Chris,
see.
give it a spin.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, here we go.
Oh my goodness. Bobby Knight. You're in this group?
Oh yeah, this is my first day.
It's my first day also.
I hope this class cures me.
Better you and I. So if you see me losing sight of all the death in life,
You're on my side of the armrest. We're not going to have problems, are we?
Well, what do you think?
Okay, so the first track, Fall Goliath Fall by Project 86.
You're half right.
Project 86?
Yeah, it is Project 86.
But that's not Fall Goliath? Oh, that's the other one then. I can't think of what that one's called though.
If we stopped the podcast right now and restarted it, it would be kind of the name of the title because of what we would be creating.
Okay.
If you have the CD sitting in front of you, I bet you could figure it out. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
most likely.
probably
Well,
not.
of course, if I had the CD sitting in front of me, I could look at the track listing and go, "Oh yeah, it's that one."
Well, you want me to tell you? If you listen to the song clip, it doesn't actually say the name of the song in the clip either. So, do you want me to give that one to you?
Well, you can give me the title. I got it right already. The
yes.
name of the band. So
Right. It's a New Transmission.
new. That's okay. It's their current single right now.
Sure, I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. All right. New Transmission. Got it. Okay. So Demon Hunter was the next one.
Okay.
I always think of Dead Flowers, but I know that's not that track.
Right.
It's not Driving Nails, is it?
No.
No. See, their songs sound so similar sometimes. They're ballady type things. They sound so similar sometimes. It's hard to think about it.
I will tell you this, I think. I'll tell you what album it's off of. But at first, yeah, it's off the Storm the Gates of Hell album. So it's like 3 albums back, I think.
Yeah, see that?
2007. Wow, I forgot that long ago.
We spin this on Broken, so that's how I know it, but I can't think of the name of the song right now. Yeah, I don't know. Oh. Seriously?